Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, hopefully, we finished my brother's car and, well, weather pending, go racing with it. If you are new to the channel or a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please consider subscribing if you have not yet. It would help me a ton to try to get Google, which is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, to pay me for sending you guys ads and using my likeness and intellectual property to do it. That would be nice. Either way, we're back working on my brother's car. This should be essentially the last one of the series because, well, we're supposed to be going racing this weekend. Granted, or not this weekend, I guess. Yeah, no, it is this weekend. But hopefully. But weather pending, because it is New England in April. And that means it could change by the day. Every single day I look at the weather, it's either raining or not raining, and it keeps trending towards raining the whole weekend. So we'll see what happens as it goes along. But we have to get this thing ready. And for the most part, it is ready. But now we're at the stage where we have to actually get it set up and ready to go. And in the last video, at the end of it, we were running into some issues trying to get the weight right, trying to get the heights right. And that's what we're doing now. We got the car going in the air at this moment, and we're going to be attaching probably the biggest chunk of lead I've ever seen in my life. And here it is. Here's my foot for reference with a size 12 shoe.
My size 12.
What? It's not that big of a shoe. 12 is normal for a 6 foot plus tall person. Anyway.
It's like Paul Seager. I wouldn't put my size 12 in your ass, Junior.
Yeah, we're not that much of a terrible reality show. So either way, this is an 87-pound brick of lead encased in, I don't even know, what is this? 1/4-inch square tubing. So
Probably
it is,
kind of industrial building support.
it is massive. This is the biggest chunk of lead I've ever seen in my life. But you know what? The car is 81 pounds light. And we also have to account for fuel. So I think, what do you think? If we put like 20 pounds in the car, we should be fine, right?
20?
20 or 30? I don't know how much fuel we're going to use on a 1 mile track.
To compensate?
Yeah. So what the rules are is this car has to be 30-50, I think.
At the end of the race.
At the end of the race. They weigh the cars at the end of the race because you should. Because guys will try to lose weight during a race if you don't. That's why they do that up here. We're not stupid. What we do is we typically overdo some of the weight. We have to overcompensate for however much burn off we have. And generally we just kind of say, all right, what's the dry weight of the car? How much fuel do we use? But at New Hampshire, we don't know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, we're going to go 30
7
pounds.
pounds a gallon usually.
7 pounds is for gasoline,
And
so
how much we burn off is probably about 7 to 10 gallons in a weekend. So
yeah. So we figure if we put
35 to 30 laps.
30-ish, 35 pounds extra in the car, and we have very long straightaways and a 25-lap race, that should be enough, I think. We'll get a good idea of burn off on practice. We can count stuff like that. So
with us too.
yeah, we can bring weights, and I have clamps and stuff that we could always bolt 10 pounds to the car if we need to. So it's not a huge deal. But we're going to put this giant brick of lead because our car is 81 pounds light. We're going to put this in the under tray right under the middle of the car, a little bit to the right to try to get rid of some of the left side weight that's in it because it's a little over. And then probably just bolt on another piece and move lead around as much as we can. But we literally have a motorcycle jack because I'm not bench pressing 87 pounds into the car while I try to bolt it or weld it and fasten the thing. It's not going to happen. So we're going to put the car in the air, try to get the lead in it, at least put in there. Yeah. It's not bench pressing a transmission. Transmissions are about 87 pounds. And that you usually push it up onto some dowel pins to hold it, but this I don't have that. I got to figure out what to do with it. So we're going to be getting under the car to do that, and it's going to be a mess. Not ideal because it's behind the rear axle, but this is really the only place we could put that giant piece. We needed rear weight because we were way low on that. And it's not like we're putting it way the hell back here. You know what I mean? It's as close to the pumpkin as we can possibly make it. So if you're going to put any weight behind the rear axle, make it as close as humanly possible. And when you're this far away from it, I'd say that's pretty dang close. And it's also on the ground, so it's not going to really hurt too much. Okay, so now what we got to do is, I think we got to just put it back on scales, because we got to figure out where to put the last little bit of lead. Now, the last little bit of lead is going to be about, I don't know, between 25 and 30 pounds. And I might have to drill holes through it in order to mount it. And there's like a whole bunch of old welding slag and stuff, and it ain't painted yet. Yeah, this one's 30 pounds even. So drilling holes in lead is freaking awful, by the way. So what we'll do is we'll find a way to get this on here. But what I want to do is reset tire pressures, get him in the car, put the thing back down on pads with the new lead in it, figure out what our left side weight is, because I put it right in the middle of the car. So if it's right in the middle of the car, it's not going to take all the left side weight away, but it'll definitely change the number. And then we can figure out from there where to put the last brick, or we can see where we're at, especially because we were 81 pounds light. That's 87 pounds. We'll see what it is. So adding weight to a car genuinely stinks, especially on a car like this where it's still a stock frame. Now, I know everyone would be like, why didn't you build weight trays? And my response to that is, where? This car has no room under it. There's none. There's exhaust, there's an X member, and you can't put anything below the floor pan because the weight has to be above ride height. So there's no room, especially with where the tins are. And you can't put it inside the car either. So I'm putting it wherever the hell I can and as low as I can. And like I said, bolting the second one on, or the final one, I should say, is not going to be too hard. Like I said, we'll drill a hole, mount it with one of these roll bar things, is the closest roll bar we can to wherever it is, and hope that it's 1 3/4, because I don't know if there's 1.5 inches in this car anywhere. My tube car was easy to put lead in. It has lead trays. Like, the frame rails accept lead. So you could just stab those in there and then put stoppers in it to stop it from sliding around. And that's it. There, lead is done. You put it wherever you want it. This car, nope, you're welding things to it and bolting it in. So at least it's in there where it's tight and it's not coming loose. And I smashed it with a hand and it ain't coming off. So, and I used a Milwaukee and not Harbor Freight tools to tighten it. So that means it'll probably break the stud and fall off. So just like it did to my hands, and sprain both of them. So, all right, we're going to get this thing on the ground onto some pads, check the tire pressures. Because they're Hoosier tires, that means they're probably not the same anymore and probably flat. And we'll put the car back on and figure out what we got to do next. Okay, car's down on blocks. Got to just run the wires for the scales and get this thing put back on them. We're going to run...
Life is ready to get me out.
Yes, and the Jaws of Life. We're going to make sure we measure the ride heights, which I got my book right here. And we're going to do that as soon as I find my pen that I didn't realize was in there. And I need a tape measure. So we're going to do 2 birds, 1 stone, see where we end up. Well, that actually didn't take hardly too long at all. I'm actually quite pleased with the results here. You know, we put that one big brick of lead in there and put a couple gallons of gas in it, and then simulated, 2 gallons, because that's about how much we're short, by just putting lead on the gas tank like that. And the numbers came out exactly what we needed. Like, we're just a little bit low of the left side weight, so it's perfect. We're not going to go over. And it went right into place. Everything just kind of worked itself out. It's actually pretty good. What do you think?
It took a shorter amount of time than my love life.
That's fair.
My sex life, I mean.
I was waiting for you to say something like shorter than being in the bathroom or something G-rated. Well, PG-rated at least.
Well,
anyway,
where?
Nah. Reality sets in. But all right, so now we have left on this poor thing is caster camber toe. And that is a big relief because, I mean, I kind of eyeballed that, and that's kind of where we're going to be. I've done it for so long, I can kind of take a look at it and say, okay, that's pretty close. I know it's not going to be perfect, but we got to get that done too. Left side needs some help. We're going to play with that a little bit too as well. So I'm just pretty happy with the numbers. It came out really, really well for as little time as we spent on it. Usually I'm spending days frustrated, pulling my hair out, but then we kind of made one little adjustment over here to the ride height, which I had a little bit left, and put the weight in, and all of a sudden the whole thing just fell together. It's pretty crazy. So that saved us a hell of a lot of time. Actually, we're done for the day. It's a little early, but usually we're not even working on the car on Sundays, which is what today is. So since we got the lead in, since everything went in so well, we're just going to work caster camber toe, run a final scale on it, and this car will be ready for New Hampshire, weather pending. Once we get this car done, well, the Stafford car comes back in the shop. And hopefully it won't take too long to get that ready either. But that'll be later this week. And this car, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get all that stuff done tomorrow. That would be lovely. And I'll see you then. All right, next day, we're going to work on geometry today a little bit. Once we get done with that, hopefully, fingers crossed, this thing will actually roll onto scales one final time. Maybe even it'll leave here. I don't really know if it will or not, but I'd love to get my Stafford car back in here, especially because this garage would work as a nice barrier to keeping the cold out, because it's going to be in the 20s for the next couple nights, and I'd really rather it be in here than in the trailer. That being said, I don't know what I'm going to do about the red car being outside as well. Usually, you know, it's cold, but it doesn't really... It's got to be a really deep cold for a long time for water to kind of freeze up and ruin a block and stuff like that, because it's over freezing by a lot during the day. So, plus it's distilled water, so don't really know what happens there. So I just don't want anything bad to happen. That's all. You can tell you put an investment into something like this. You don't want to ruin it because of something that's preventable. So this car, again, we're going to break out some real fancy tools here that I have not used yet for, well, a complete setup. I've only ever played with it. Back here on the shelf of many things, where there's just stuff everywhere because I am a hoarder, apparently. Oh no, I've lost it. I think I've showed this on the channel before, because I compared it with my old one and then showed you the new one. Well, no free ads, but you can tell who makes this one. This right here is a digital caster camber gauge. There it is. It takes a second because it's gyroscopic. It's got a level on the top, magnets to the hub. I had one that was just a bubble level, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to spend the money on something that's actually going to give me a number that I can read. That's what that's for. So, setup tools, tools in general, are all really kind of like safety equipment in your car. You spend the money. Would I rather have a carbon fiber helmet that's nice and lightweight, or just kind of a regular one that's cheaper? Really rather have the carbon fiber one. My fire suit was custom built And I'll show you that on the channel. I don't think I've showed you that, but anybody who follows me on social media has seen that already. That came in with my sponsor's logo on it and everything, and that was custom made. Would I prefer to have that or some, I don't know, random one out of a book that was cheap? Well, I'd rather have that one that's really nice, and it has very lightweight, very high-tech Nomex and stuff like that in it. Would I rather have that? Oh, yeah. Would I rather have a Hans device or a neck ring? Well, a neck ring doesn't do anything, so I'd rather have the Hans device. You see what I'm saying? Would I rather have a bubble gauge that won't go high enough for the numbers that we're looking for that I found at a flea market for caster camber toe? Or would I rather have a digital gauge that cost me a little bit that'll tell me everything, that's a very repeatable thing that I can constantly use and get every number that I'm looking for and have the precise measurements that I need every time I go out on the track? See, I did this to prepare for my full season that we're about 2 weeks away from at Stafford, which if you have Flow Racing subscription, you can watch every week from home, which would be a fun thing to do. But we're going to use that brand new tool on this car. But when it comes to racing, like I said, tools matter so much. It's unbelievable. If you don't have a set of turn plates, you can make some. That's okay, but you have to make it repeatable. And I think I've showed you something like that in the past, but those are necessity. A good caster camber toe gauge, or at least caster camber gauge, because toe you measure other ways. Scales. Just setup tools in general are such a necessity if you want to be faster and you want to be competitive. So I know I've been talking a lot. I apologize, but like I have to hammer that home to you guys. We were okay for a while. Then we got scales. Then we got tools. And then we started really winning races. So we're going to get to work on that with all them tools that we acquired over the years and upgraded from, and hopefully this thing will actually, well, respond to it. All right, well, you know what? It took us a minute on the left front, but the right front wasn't so bad. That was actually really close to the numbers that we wanted. We threw the sink at the left front because it looked factory, like factory settings, and we put it to race car settings. So the new gauge takes some getting used to because it's digital, and I have to like zero it all the time. It's kind of a pain, actually. But it seems to take measurements really well, which is very repeatable. That's what I like. The only issue is now we're trying to go through and like do maintenance items like packing wheel bearings, and we're looking at the rotors on it, and they're not good.
Not
like
for
there's
Hampshire.
no, there's heat cracking and checking in them enough that I can actually like catch my fingernail on it, and I'm just like, no, we really need to just kind of do something else. And even if we have to pad slap the front on there because the brake pads still have like half life on them, and they actually look really good. It's just the rotors got hot. So I figured we could just do that and just go out there for practice and kind of hit the brakes and bed them in there, and it'll be all right. But we can't have cracked rotors, especially if they're stock hubs, because, well, they'll fail. And that's not good at 140 something miles
It's
an hour.
a long way to think about the crash before you get there.
Yeah, you'll be buried in the wall before you're even...
But you'll say, uh-oh, this is going to hurt, and then you're going to wait 10 seconds and then hit the wall at 140.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to question your life choices before you hit the wall when that happens. So, as I trip over my own tools, we're gonna go check inventory for local parts stores and see what they got, and then probably find some and put them on. And if not, well, we might be swapping spindles and grabbing the hubs off of my car because I have brand new rotors and safety hubs on that car. So we'll figure it out. We still got all week, and the weather forecast looks like poop, so we'll see what happens. But we're going to do that, and I think we might be done for the day. So we'll see you tomorrow if that's the case. All right, we're back out here. Next day, we already got some brake rotors in. Apparently, getting 1975 Camaro rotors is a little bit difficult, but express delivery exists, and it came through. So, got one sitting here. What I got to do is, I have to drill them for 5/8 studs, which requires a very big drill bit, which I think is this one right here. I think it's a 43/64 drill bit, and that'll be fun. Drilling through these hubs to get that in. No, it won't. Anyway, we got to hammer the old studs out, put the new ones in, clean the thing completely, swap the bearings over, and get them on the car, and then brake clean the hell out of them. So we'll get that going, and hopefully, fingers crossed, these Chinesium rotors will hold up. That was supremely not fun. These managed to go in pretty good though. I had good purchase. They didn't feel like they were loose. They went in really nice. My drill is a complete death machine yet again, and all it did was just completely spin the thing into my crotch constantly and smash into my arms. So the bruises that I have are now much bigger than they were before, but this job is done. Got to get the other side off so I can pull the studs out of that one and reuse them on the new one for the left side, but it's kind of not taken apart yet. So I guess we'll go take that apart, get those bearings out, repack those, and just kind of slap this back together as quickly as possible. It's starting to get a little chilly out here, but we got the car done. It's on the ground, and honestly, it just settled a little bit. I made one little turn of the left rear bolt and got that right to the number where we wanted. Then we went downstairs and into my basement where I have my old vinyl cutting machine. And we started making some numbers and putting them on. And then we got word that the race has been postponed. I know the weather didn't look so great the whole week. And it's only, Tuesday? But you got to give people enough time that if they're coming from long distances, we're 2 hours away, and it's, kind of a long distance, and everybody has hotels set up and stuff, and give them a chance to, change everything in their reservations and plan accordingly. And that means I can ask for work off now, and it's going to be the next week. It's going to be Friday, Saturday. It is what it is. We went up there a couple times, and it was nice and sunny and clean and cold, but it was a lovely time, and it was about time we had a issue. So that's going to really put some strain on the old schedule, but it is what it is. We're just going to keep going with this car. It's off the scales. It's ready to go. We just got to get the numbers on it, and I really would like to play musical cars today and get this thing out of here and get my Stafford car back in here, because time is of the essence, and I don't want to have to take and make rash decisions and rush. I don't want to rush. So I'm going to continue forging ahead. I'm just finishing throwing some decals on this thing because, kind of needs it in order for it to be identified. And then once that's done in half-hour time or so, then maybe we'll roll it out and roll the other one in. So I'll keep plugging away. See, I've had my own vinyl cutter for years and years and years and years, and I don't think I've ever actually had to buy decals and stuff for my cars. And it's been nice, but when I get my Stafford car in here, hopefully we're going to get somebody down here to actually wrap it. I've never had a wrap on my vehicles before, and I don't even know what it looks like still. It's going to be kind of a surprise, which will be really fun, but I trust who's doing it. So, like I said, I've done it. I'm not the greatest at it, but I can slap something together, and that's served us very well over the years, and time to keep doing it. we got the numbers on for the most part. I gotta let it dry out a little bit because I use the soap and water method to try to keep bubbles out. And it didn't want to stick around the edges where there's like dents or overlaps or whatever. So I'm just gonna let it sit there and for a little bit. But sit there in the trailer because it's back in. The primary focus of my year and all the efforts I made last year is back in the garage. We got a couple little minor things to take care of, like I need to finish fastening the body, making sure that doesn't go anywhere. We're gonna do a little bit of cleanup, like I wanna sand the roof to make sure the wrap sticks to it. Peel this garbage off, which I think I already did, maybe sand that. I don't know if he wants me to peel the stickers off or not, but we'll get to that point when we cross that. I also got to get under here and do a whole bunch of work too. So I'll let you know what that is when we get to it. But for now, I think we're done for the day. For whatever reason, it is incredibly cold and windy. And I am not a fan of that right now because, well, you can't tease us with 50 degree, 60 degree weather and then hit us with 40 and windy. And by the way, it's going to be 25 at night. Not happy. I'm going to try to get in touch with the decal and graphics guy and see what he's got cooking and plot and plan, and we'll see you tomorrow. Next day, Stafford car back in the shop like I'd mentioned before. Got the hood off. We're going to start cleaning it and getting some stuff done. We got a bunch of stuff we have to tackle before this thing can hit the track. We got to change some brake lines, fittings. We got to bleed brakes completely, which with my brother here today, I should probably do that first because, well, it's better to do it with somebody and doing it manually than it is to just like hang a cup and put a hose on it or something like that. I think this is a more thorough way of doing it. Then I can work like sanding the roof down and hopefully getting it ready for a wrap. And then after that, if I have some time or whatever I'm doing, I can go hop in and start putting the radiator ducting back in. Hopefully the old stuff fits and I don't have to do another one because that's time consuming, but not out of the realm of possibility. So we got to get to work. So we ran into a bunch of issues with the braking system. I was putting on bigger hoses in the front just to see if the extra flow might help with a pedal situation, like trying to build pressure and stuff. And apparently, whatever brake lines kit or whatever I bought, I forget from who, apparently that wasn't good. The lines themselves are okay. The fittings are junk. Both of the front fittings stripped when I tried to tighten them onto the new bulkhead fittings. So that irritated me quite a bit, and I had to reflare and put different fittings on, which I had better ones, so thankfully I had those. And I put those on, we put the new hoses on, we put the new fittings on, we got everything put in, and then my brother and I proceeded to manually bleed, which I usually don't do because I'm usually by myself, and That took a while as well because there was so much air in the system that it was unsafe to drive, essentially. I didn't even have pedal feel until the very end. And now the pedal feels really good. Like, probably one of the best pedals I've had in a very long time. So I'm going to have to enlist somebody from my house, either the wife or the kid, to help me bleed brakes from now on, unless somebody else comes to the shop. It helps me because manually bleeding brakes is the way to go because you don't have any retraction of fluid. It's always just constantly coming out. So we're at past that point. Now I actually have to do something else that's very necessary for tomorrow. So I've sent my brother on an errand mission to go to Home Depot. I gave him my card and said, hey, I need some supplies because we have to have this car ready for a wrap tomorrow. I have never had a car wrapped before, and I've been speaking to the guy who owns the graphics company who's going to come up and do it. I'm not sure if he'll be on camera, but I'll give him a plug anyway when he gets here. And we have to do some prep work. Now, this car is bare metal, and he told me, hey, if it's bare metal, can you wipe it down with alcohol and get it, at least fog some paint on it and have it dry overnight so that we can have something to adhere to, because apparently these things just, he's been having a lot of issues getting wrapped to adhere to this type of thing. So I'm like, yeah, sure, we can do that. So I have to go through and essentially tape stuff off. We're going to take a box of wipes like this, some denatured alcohol, and wipe the whole damn car down. While I'm here, I might as well finish putting that in. I think we're going to also put the bolts in, which I have lost, so I'm going to have to go look for those. But we're going to wipe the car down. We're going to put about a coat of paint on here, just enough to cover it. He said you don't have to go crazy, so we'll just get that. I put these decals on for taillights and stuff because I was filming and we're not going to be using these clearly, so that was money well spent. So I'll be peeling that off. And then we'll go through, probably pull these off, make it easy for the wrap to show up tomorrow, and do all the prep work necessary to do that when he gets back. I'm also going to grab my DA sander, which I have no idea where that ended up, and I'm going to sand this garbage off the roof. Now, if you've not watched this channel or before, or you're new, or you remember, the paint's not good. So I'm going to grab a DA sander and just kind of rough it up enough to get this scale off. And I think I'm going to do that first, then we'll blow it off and wipe her down and hope that that's enough to get this thing done. Ooh. Well, it works. It just looks like I'm prepping for a 1980s party. That's all. This might be better than sanding it for texture, but not for time, that's for sure. Oh, this is gonna be a long night. Well, one coat of black is what I was required to do. That is one coat of black. I ran through it about 3 or 4 times with some rags and some denatured alcohol, which I left far away from this open flame heater because I didn't feel like becoming the Human Torch today, or any day for that matter. I taped off whatever I was going to paint over. I just said, you know what? He said black. Whatever is not black, we're making black. Bare metal, going to be black. It's going to be very cold tonight as well, so I'm very, very hopeful that this thing will actually dry. I've painted far worse than this, and I think the prep work is really starting to talk for itself. So I even wiped down the back deck lid here, and I don't think a rag ever came clean, but then I stuck painter's tape to it, and it was actually really sticky. Usually I can't stick anything to this because this becomes my table where I put everything greasy and grimy and disgusting. And, well, now you can probably stick something to it, which is good. I held up a piece of cardboard whenever I went over a window opening so nothing would get in here and overspray the hell out of everything. But like I said, I'm looking over the car just to make sure there's no fish eyes or cracking or anything like that. And I think the plan of having the garage be warmed up and then wiping it down with alcohol has paid off because, boy, it actually looks pretty good. We're probably going to deal with these tomorrow and the stickiness I left on the back. But I got goof off and I got alcohol for that. We can get that cleaned up. Prep work is going to be a little bit tomorrow. Hopefully we can get a little bit of filming for that. That would be kind of fun. But I'm going to let it dry and get the hell out of here because, man, I cannot breathe. So I'm going to let these paint fumes do their trick instead of doing it to myself. Come back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have this thing prettied up, and then we can go about finishing it. But we'll see you tomorrow. Next day, bit of a late start. Couldn't get out of bed this morning. Can you blame me sometimes? The wrap for the car got delayed. It was going to happen today. It's not going to happen today because of supply issues. It'll be tomorrow, though, hopefully, and that'll give another day at least for this coat of paint to cure up. That'll help, I think. But we're going to move on to other things. I've got a few other important bits on the checklist, one of which I completely forgot about until yesterday, and we're going to work on those because we really can't go racing without it. Chief among which is we have to get the exhaust manifolds done because they don't have any gaskets on them and they're leaking. I can hear them leaking. I was going to pull them off, but it required the car being in the garage, and on jack stands, I'd have to pull the whole thing off, the pipes, the mufflers, the headers, because there's space issues here. The other one is radiator ducting. I've got nothing in there. I've got the old ones just kind of hanging out here. I wonder if I can make them work. I'm probably going to have to clean them off, make sure that they can accept some kind of tape because, look, they are disgusting. But I'm going to see if I can reuse them because that would save me a heck of a lot of time. And I know they were for a different nose. They were for a Speedway nose, and this is kind of a 5-star nose. But I bet you we can make them work. So we need radiator ducting to keep the thing cool. We need exhaust manifold gaskets so that we don't burn valves and have exhaust leaks. Those two are the important things. We're going to get those done, and if there's anything after that, we'll tackle that. So I've been tinkering on this thing a little bit after getting the exhaust manifold gaskets put on. Fired the thing up and checked the voltage just to see what was going on, and it was not charging at idle. Then you'd rev it up and it would be overcharging when you rev it up. So I'm like, well, voltage regulator shot, because it was working fine before, now it's not. Perfect. So I grabbed another alternator off the shelf or underneath the toolbox, wherever I keep it. Stabbed that one in. That one didn't work either. No voltage. No matter where I even tried to put a jumper wire in, absolutely nothing. Tried a third one that was sitting around. Did the same thing. Tried jumper wires on the back terminals, tried no jumper wire, tried revving it up, tried everything. No voltage. So 3 alternators down, nothing works. So I got another one on the way that's brand new from eBay. That's annoying. And I know everybody out there is like, why you run an alternator? Because I don't want to put a battery charger on my car and they don't really matter. I'd rather have 14 volts going to a GM HEI alternator than, I don't know, 12 or in some cases 11 and a half because I have an electric fan. If you have an electric fan, you're going to drain the hell out of your battery. And if you're not getting a full voltage going to a GM HEI, you're not getting as much spark output. Therefore, I'd rather run an alternator. It's less maintenance and I get more voltage. Either way, it seems to run fine otherwise. I mean, I don't have any exhaust leaks. I'm probably going to go and tighten down the manifolds one more time just because I've put a few heat cycles into it and I've got copper gaskets in it. So, I don't know, I've never run them before, but kind of hoping they seal up good. So we'll tighten that down and then, I don't know, just kind of wait for the alternator to show up while I figure out what to do next, like ducting. And now since I'm waiting on parts, well, I figured I'd take the opportunity to get the thing ready for graphics tomorrow and at least taking a look at the front ducting. Ducting is reused from the old nose. This is a different nose. Doesn't quite fit. This one's a little taller. I have to make an extra piece at the bottom to make it fit. A couple of zip ties or rivets and some aluminum tape should do that really well. And I'll just piece that together whenever I can. I grabbed the hood and the back trunk and tailpiece and I wiped that down with some alcohol, seeing if it will help with the application of the graphics tomorrow. Fingers crossed that will be happening. I got the proof today and it's very interesting and very exciting because I've never had this sort of thing before. I've never had somebody else in charge of how my cars look. And I'm excited. I really am. So this thing will sit here overnight and I'm going to go inside and take care of my kid. And we're going to come back out here tomorrow. And hopefully we'll see it in a whole new light. Next day, I've been out here piddling around, just cleaning the place up. It is really starting to get clean up in here. Not everywhere, but I got the graphics guy coming. I'm going to see if he wants to be on camera at all. If not, maybe I'll just throw some time lapse up of this thing getting some graphics put on it. And then I'll show you the finished product. Thanks to Tom and his crew at 32 Signs. I really appreciate them coming out and doing this for me. And I gotta be honest with you, I've never had a car wrapped before, ever in our entire career or owning race cars or working on race cars. I've never had one. And we've been doing this for 26 years. Oh, I had to take a second to remember that, but I have the finished product sitting here in front of me. You know what? I'm just going to show you guys because I am very pleased with how this came out. Well, what do you think? Like I was telling my wife earlier, I'm not used to having something that looks like a race car being my race car. Usually, it looks like somebody stole something, spray painted it to make it look different, and then slapped the number over it. Now, what a machine. When I said I've put all my eggs into one basket and we're going to come out all guns blazing for Stafford for full time this year, I meant it. This is a brand new car. Brand new rear, brand new suspension, brand new shocks, brand new drive shaft, brand new transmission, clutch, engine, carb, front drive, water pump, everything in this car. Radiator, by the way. Everything in this car is brand new. Granted, yes, there are going to be teething problems with something like that, but you know what? We did kind of figure out some of them when we had our test session earlier. Now it's all a matter of just putting it to the racetrack and seeing what happens. So I got a couple more things we have to do to this thing just to not only protect it, but to also finish it. Mainly, I got to get under the hood here, get the ducting all finished. Think the front end should be pretty well set. Rear end should be pretty well set. We got to get the, the body's also been finished as well. I got all the braces on it. I got to put the wear strip on the front, which is sitting over there somewhere coiled up on the shelf. That's going to be the finishing touch for the body. I got it all fastened. Everything should be good. Other than that, I think we're at the point where this thing just needs a setup and to go to hit the racetrack. We're still a few weeks out, and I still have another day to work on this thing because I have the day off of work tomorrow by some miracle. Actually, no, it's not a miracle. It's a rain out. We were supposed to be at the Northeast Classic tomorrow, and, well, that didn't happen because of the weather. So I will be sitting at home here working on the car because I already took the day off from work. I might as well enjoy it. So I'm going to take the rest of the night off. It was fun watching them work their magic on this thing. Again, thank you, Tom and crew, 32 Signs. Thank you to my sponsor, Northeast Truck and Off-Road, Route 12 Gales Ferry, Connecticut. I might put their info right here, which I should do more often, but since we're getting closer to racing season, we're going to be doing a lot of that because I owe them a lot. I wouldn't be racing full-time if it wasn't for them, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we can finish some stuff up. It's the next day, freezing out here. Of course, I have 2 days off, and both days are raining and garbage. It's nice and dry in here, though, but I need to address something I forgot to mention on the last shot I had here. I know a lot of people are going to ask, well, why didn't you get the front end wrapped? Well, that's a simple answer, because street stocks are very physical race cars. And to be fair, vinyl wrap does not really like to stick to plastic very well. So when you're beating and banging bumpers and knocking into people, well, that stuff tends to tear and rip off really easily. So just why bother leaving it on there in the first place? Same story with the back. Front, back, it's going to get torn up. Why bother? Just put your number on it, put a nice message. There you go. We did run it down to the absolute edge of the side, though, which is kind of cool. So it actually does cover the whole side of the car. But I have to stop ogling at this thing and get to work. We've got a few things that we need to take care of. Chief among which, I did save myself a bunch of time by actually measuring this thing and building the body tall enough that I don't have to add rocker panels to either side. So it's as clean and smooth down the side as humanly possible. But in order to save a bunch of this wrap, what we're going to do is we're going to install a couple of these. This is a demonstration one. This one's a little used. But these are those Lexan rub rails. I've got a couple sitting above me, in the yellow wrap. And we're going to run them down the side so that when we start making door and tire contact, it doesn't completely shred the wrap on the car. They do help quite a bit. I've heard people say, oh, they don't do anything. Well, run without it and then run with one and then see if there's any tire marks afterwards. There are going to be some, but nowhere even near as close as if you're just going to run the thing clean with nothing down the side. This looks nicer, but that makes it stay longer. Also, I need to finish the duct work in the front for the radiator and make sure that that is finished because, well, I'd like my car to stay cool, especially in the summertime, and ducting air to it is the best way to do that. It just is. I mean, all right, so I am going to get to work. I'm going to probably heat the garage up, which sucks. I already put the heaters away, which was a rookie mistake. You'd think I'd know after 40-something years of living in New England not to put the heaters away until June, but we're here now. First things first, though, I am very conscious of how much this wrap cost and how nice it is. And what's wrong with having a nice race car? I'm going to put this over the hood, or roof, I mean. Well, if I was British, I guess it would be hood. But stick that over it so that when I put my hood on it, it won't scuff it up too bad. So I know if you look at it, it looks crooked, right? It looks like it's way up in the nose on the rub rail, right? You stand back here, maybe it looks a little different. Yeah, you see how it kind of looks like it's going up? Well, that's an optical illusion. I measured the bottom of the door and fenders. That is exactly flat with the chassis itself. And I measured 12 inches up from that. It is completely level all the way across. So I know the graphics on it make it look like it's way off, but it's actually dead nuts in the middle. I don't know how many of you run these Lexan rub rails. Personally, I always run them because I don't want donuts all up and down the side of my car. I don't want it to look hideous because I was too lazy to do this or put a bar down the car. You could put like square stock or another type of rub rail down it as well, like a Nerf bar type of deal. I just run that. It's easy to put on. They're very durable. I've smashed the hell out of them and they've come right back. So, I mean, I've put them in the wall and it's saved all of my door graphics. So they're not bad. Other side, same height, same thing. I spaced them all in 1 foot increments so that they wouldn't have too many or too few rivets holding them in. They're top and bottom. And with graphics, you get a bunch of shavings and stuff in there, plastic and Lexan and wrap material and all sorts of stuff. I usually blow it out before putting rivets into it just to, and like if I can get my hand in there and like get all the shavings and garbage out. And it looks a lot cleaner if you do that. You don't get the stuff stuck behind it. So that really helps. And like I said, in these cars, racing physical it's going to happen. It's an absolute. So more you can do to make your life a little easier, like maybe now I don't have to take door donuts out and maybe I don't have to pound dents as much. That's going to help you with prep during the week so you don't have to do as much stuff, as well as bolting and washering the door to the body, because I got those little rails down here. They're 1x1 square tubing, bolted at the front, and front fender bolted to the bumper. All those things combined equal a better chance at staying on the racetrack because you don't have body panels falling off, and a better time in the shop during the week because your stuff doesn't fall apart. That's what I'm trying to go for here. I'm just trying to get through it week to week without having to do as much work because I don't want to focus on body work. I want to focus on mechanical stuff. Maintenance is going to be what keeps us in races. However, this week I got a late start today, and I kind of ran out of time. But I'm very glad that I could bring this car to you in its finished form, externally at least. Well, internally it's pretty well finished. I mean, I might try a new starter in the next episode just to see if I cure that hang-up issue that we've been having. And we still got to finish about 2/3 of the ducting. I got a little bit done, but reusing this stuff is starting to become a little bit more problematic than I had expected because I have to add more pieces. But I think we're going to nix how I'm doing it and just go straight to exploding rivets and just put it all together that way in pieces, and I don't really care. But we did get a lot done on this. We got my brother's car done and ready and put in the trailer, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next video, you'll see this thing get kind of finished up, and maybe, like I said, weather pending, we might go racing. We'll see. Today, the forecast looks good. Yesterday, it really didn't. Who knows? It's going to be a very hectic weekend if it holds, though. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps me so much. It's free. It's a click of a button. It literally is. Getting the algorithm of YouTube to find me is so difficult. And getting traction on YouTube, you almost have to be lucky. So I really try to make these as informative and entertaining as I can, and just kind of hope and pray that one day maybe somebody finds, or the right group of people find me, and this channel can explode. But for now, we're just going to keep plugging away. And I appreciate every single one of you who has subscribed, who's shared me, who's done everything that you can to help me out with this thing. And we're going to start going racing very soon, within the next few weeks. And I am very excited and a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, because I haven't raced full time in, goodness, over a decade. Oh, goodness, this is going to kill me. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time.